13. Or is it this way? 13. Trev's Hockey Show. I'm the Trev. You know that. If you're tuning in, if you're watching, it's too sweet. It's to all my new subscribers. Thank you. Glad you're coming along for the ride. You know, the one day everything matches up, and it's not necessarily for good purposes. I mean, first off, my apologies for getting to this one as late as I am. When this story broke, I was on my way to work, and that was at 8:30 this morning. It is now 20 to 10 tonight. You know, I'd have made this the instant I got home, but, you know, being a husband, being a dad, life, you know, you can only get to these things as fast as you can. But anyway, excuses aside, this is not a story I want to enjoy telling. I mean, it's not even for a good reason. It was announced this morning that the IIHF, the International Ice Hockey Federation, for those not in the know, suspended Washington Capitals forward Evgeni Kuznetsov from international competition for 4 years for testing positive for cocaine, which is a banned substance in their doping regulation policies. Want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. So the test in question comes as a result of the 2019 World Championships, where he tested positive, or at least he was tested, on May 26th. Ironically enough, that was the actual day before a now deleted 22-second video clip surfaced online, which appeared to have Kuznetsov in a hotel room sitting next to a table with a couple lines of a white powdery substance and a couple rolled dollar bills. Now, the Associated Press, through a Capitals spokesperson, confirmed that, yeah, it was Kuznetsov in the video. After the leak, Kuznetsov went on record to say he had no wrongdoing in this video at all. It was confirmed that through him that, yeah, it was him. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time, just bad circumstance all the way around. He didn't touch anything, and if he was to be tested, he would pass the test. Now, the video was apparently made during the Capitals Cup run in 2018 in a hotel room in Vegas, but was later revealed to have been taken in December of 2018 when the Capitals were on a Western Coast road swing in Vegas. Now, Kuznetsov made a statement through the Capitals PR department where he says he has accepted the suspension, which is smart, because if he didn't accept it and decided to challenge the case, that would have been very, very bad. But in said statement, he said representing his country has always been a thing close to his heart, and something that he has taken a lot of pride in. Not being able to put on the sweater for the next 4 years is very hard to take. Additionally, he also mentions that he's disappointed his fans, his family, his teammates, and his friends, and he's taking ownership of his actions. I guess you kind of have to in this situation, right? You've been called out. There's no saying it isn't me. Anyway. The Capitals, for their part, also released a statement which says that they are aware of the test and the sanctions placed on it. They also acknowledge that Kuznetsov has voluntarily sought help through the education and counseling program provided for in the NHLPA collective bargaining agreement, and has agreed to regular testing protocol regulating his involvement with the program. It also states that the team will remain in contact with the NHL as they determine the next steps from here, and have no further comment on the matter. We'll get to the implications on this one in a bit. In a statement released by the NHL, they said that they had been fully briefed by the IIHF with respect to the test But unlike the IIHF, take two, go. Cocaine is not considered a performance-enhancing drug and is not on their prohibited list. Instead, it is considered a drug of abuse that is tested for and which intervention, education, and mandatory treatment can occur in appropriate cases. They also confirmed that Kuznetsov has voluntarily sought help and has agreed to regular testing, and that Kuznetsov has agreed to an in-person meeting with Gary Bettman to discuss his situation and review his conduct prior to the start of training camp ahead of the 2019-2020 season. Also, they reserve any further comment on any disciplinary actions pending the completion of the meeting between Bettman and Kuznetsov. So what does all this mean? Let's discuss. For the IIHF, it's business as usual, minus one Evgeni Kuznetsov. They're not going to lose sleep over this. You know, it's just part of their protocol with every World Championship, every World Junior Championship, every Olympic event, anything that's under the IIHF umbrella, there will always be testing. And that's good on their end. I mean, you don't need doping or performance enhancing or anything like that in sport. There's just no room for it. And I know it used to be old Soviet practice to inject their athletes with whatever, but those days are gone. So we don't need that. For Evgeni Kuznetsov, though, he gets to miss the next 4 World Championships, and if the NHL decides to go to 2022 Olympics in Beijing. He was retroactively suspended June 13th, 2019. So June 12th, 2023, his suspension's up. He can't appeal this. It's a completely different body of governing, and there's just no wiggle room, no easy way out at all. It's what it is. Of course, that doesn't say anything about the NHL if they're going to suspend him, if they're going to fine him. I mean, kudos to him for willingly stepping in and seeking the help to get himself straightened out, cleaned up, whatever. But now he is the subject of consistent random testing. But he walked into that one willingly. He knew that once this came out, it was inevitably going to happen. His credibility is now shattered, having previously denied any wrongdoing or use of the drug, only for an independent test to come along like a bad Maury episode and say, hey, by the way, that's a lie. Yeah, I know. Funny. Of course, with credibility comes image. And image might as well just take a seat right next to credibility. Because that image, depending on the kind of person you are, on your public view on the stance of cocaine, it's shattered. It's a black eye. And I mean, a lot of guys can turn around and turn their lives over and clean up and all this, and it's a forgotten memory. But this one's going to sting for a bit. My thought anyway. If this does result in a suspension, this could really, really hurt the Washington Capitals. I mean, if it was a guy like Tom Wilson, let's say, getting busted for this and he got suspended, no biggie. They've gone 20-some games without Tom Wilson before, but Tom Wilson is your enforcer. Evgeni Kuznetsov is one of your stars. He's one of your premier players. And if, say he does get suspended, say the NHL explores the option, and let's use examples of Austin Watson or Nate Schmidt, and they suspend him 20 games or more. This could seriously determine the outcome of at least 20 or more games, minus one superstar on their team. But that's if they decide to go the route of suspension. As for the NHL, for them to get a test result from an independent body outside of their organization, that's got to be a blow. No doubt about it. I mean, initially when that 22-second video came out and they talked to Kuznetsov about it, they considered the matter closed. But now having the IIHF come out and say, oh, hey, by the way, our tests say this, while your guy says that. This really has to put a bigger, broader light on their test policies, or at least what they consider to be worth, I don't know, consideration for a no-no list, or how they even administer the tests themselves. Like, so many things could be a black eye on this. And I think back to when Grant Fuhr got suspended for admitting to using cocaine. They suspended him half the year. You know, now if you're caught with a drug that they consider an abuser, 20 games minimum. You can think of Mike Richards when he got busted at the border with all kinds of different pills. You know, he got a suspension, but in the case of Fuhr and Richards, the teams tried to distance themselves from it as quickly as possible. Like, Fuhr finished out the year in Edmonton, and not long after that was traded. Richards got his contract terminated. He was done, essentially. But I'm not talking about Richards, I'm not talking about Fuhr, I'm talking about Kuznetsov. I'm talking about the NHL. Back then, though, I mean, the idea of cocaine and drug testing in the league wasn't a huge thing. It was very, what? And even now, I think it's still very, what? I mean, they understand what these things can do to a person. I mean, look at Joe Murphy. Prime example. But what does the NHL do now that all this has come to light? That they've had an outside body say, oh, hey, by the way, your guy, might want to check him. I'm quite sure, though, we'll see some kind of action by them. Whether or not it's soon, whether or not it's sooner, whether or not it's later, I can't answer that. I'm not the NHL. I'm just the guy who watches the NHL regularly. But I can't imagine they're going to take this one lightly at all. That was episode 13 of Trev's Hockey Show. I wish it was of a better circumstance. I wish I had done this a lot sooner than the time I'm doing it now, but, you know, things are what things are, and I mean, you can make them when you can make them, so you can only go with it, right? But if you like this video, feel free to hit the like button. I do want to thank you for tuning in. Your viewership always means so much to me, always has, always will, and I mean, hey, the sky's the limit now. I mean, I'm seeing subs come out of the woodwork, and I'm very thankful for every one of you. I really am, and I'm glad you're all coming along for the ride. 50 is still the goal, so let's hit 50. Find that sub button. There, it's one of those two. Hit that thing. It's up to date with all the content I'm putting out. If you want to, you can find Trev's Trade Page on Facebook at Trev's Trade Page. You can also find the parent channel on Facebook at Trev's TV. You can also find Trev TV on Instagram at Rockstar Trev TV. And if you want to help my other two channels hit the 50 mark as well, because that's the goal for them, here's what you're looking for. So going forward, I'll definitely have a better topic. I can guarantee you that. I'll probably dip right back into the jersey retired numbers, or the retired number jerseys, however you want to call it. My dyslexia is an overdrive today. I'll probably do one more of those. Being we're getting near to the end of the month, expect a trade page video coming. I've got the basis of how I want to present my next hockey history video. It's just a matter of getting it out. So it's coming. Yeah. September's around the corner, and I really have to work on the hockey pool that me and Melissa are going to do. And I got to work on my division predictions. So there's a lot of hockey content coming. It's just a matter of time. But either way, in the meantime, and in between time, be on the lookout for more videos from the Trev. Later.